to Campbell, a man he had never met, but a man he greatly respects.
He played the bagpipes from his mid-teens up to the time of his death. He loved Beethoven, Brahms, and Rachmaninoff.
And as a tribute to Campbell, bagpipes were played at his funeral, beginning an LAPD tradition that has been honored at every LAPD fallen officer's funeral since his. Next March, the Los Angeles Police Museum will unveil a permanent exhibition dedicated to Campbell and Hettinger. And just days after the city dedicated Ian Campbell Square, Gregory Powell, who was convicted of killing Campbell, died in prison at age 79. The Olympic controversy over the U.S. team uniforms being made overseas reignited the conversation about just what and how much is still made in the USA. Well, as Anna Marcos tells us, Made in L.A. is becoming a growing phenomenon in the apparel and textile industry.
LA's growing fashion industry provides a paycheck for some 50,000 Angelenos, and now it gets to show off its style in Las Vegas at the Magic Apparel and Sourcing Trade Show, one of the largest in the country. Design Knit, a family-owned business, is one of about a dozen companies on exhibit.
If you go, let's say, to a better and department store and you look at their contemporary floor, I could say we service probably 60 to 65% of those labels. It's definitely the higher-end contemporary market.
City leaders have gone all out to help LA fashionistas shine. They helped get funding through the LA Regional Export Council and a state grant to help pay for a Made in LA pavilion at the trade show.
Made in America is important, but we also know that Made in LA is critical to our local economy because those are jobs and opportunities we can count on.
I don't have to tell you that the LA style is casual. It's casual, it's low-key, but our manufacturing muscle is anything but.
Design Knit is one of LA's textile manufacturers. It's one of the companies helping to pump billions into LA's apparel industry. And in this place, even the trash can liners wear knit apparel. City leaders are hoping the LA fashion fad keeps growing.
Who knows, we may have that convention that we're seeing in Vegas come right back here to Los Angeles where it all started.
Hopefully, the week brings a bonanza in fashion business for LA merchants. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
And that show runs this week in Vegas from August 20th through the 23rd. Finding free parking just got easier near the Port of Los Angeles. Over 600 parking meters have been removed to help lure drivers out of their cars and into area restaurants. Gil Reyes reports.
Okay, here we go.
The city of Los Angeles yanks off the heads of several hundred parking meters in downtown San Pedro. That means free parking in front of restaurants like Neil's Pasta and Seafood. City leaders say it's about time.
You know, by nickel and diming residents and local businesses and their customers, we lose out on thousands of dollars of sales tax revenue.
For years, people had complained that these meters hurt area businesses, driving away potential customers who didn't want to pay for parking. So the city is decommissioning over 600 meters, 540 in downtown San Pedro, the rest in nearby Wilmington.
And to make it really easier for my customers to come into the restaurant and spend money and shop in downtown San Pedro, it's just really wonderful. So thank you.
Some of the old meter poles will be turned into bicycle racks. Not all the meters are going. Staying put are 200 of the newer smart meters that take cash and credit cards. But they'll be upgraded to allow up to 2 hours of parking. Fees will also be reduced to around 50 cents an hour. 2 city-owned parking lots in downtown San Pedro will also offer free parking to further entice drivers to stop, shop, and dine. In downtown San Pedro, Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
While driving through downtown San Pedro, keep your eyes peeled for free parking spots. You'll find them along 5th, 6th, 8th, and 9th Streets and also along Pacific Avenue. While the city responded to business owners in San Pedro by removing parking meters, over in downtown it installed a charger for electric vehicles for the growing number of residents who are driving green vehicles. Rasha Goel has the story.
Roughly 30 minutes max and your electric vehicle could be charged with the Blink DC Fast Charger. The first fast electric vehicle charger is now in Los Angeles, and it's just the beginning of more to come.
This is really about being innovative. creative and pushing the edge about what is possible.
This fast charger is located next to 10 standard EV chargers in a public parking lot off Mateo Street in downtown Los Angeles and can charge a Nissan Leaf, Mitsubishi, and build your own dream cars.
This one is about 480 volts of power, and it'll charge a vehicle anywhere from about 10 to 30 minutes. These 10 other units, they're level 2 pedestals, and they're 240 volt chargers. They usually take about 4 to 8 hours to charge a vehicle.
It's a pretty simple process. All you need is a Blink card, which you can get from their website at blinknetwork.com. Bring your car down here and charge it.
Having this charger just gives me that extra range. I also have a friend who lives in the building next door to this, and anytime I visit her, I can, plug in my car and feel like I'm ready to go even further.
And officials say the fast charger is a perfect fit for downtown, a neighborhood where residents are committed to living a sustainable lifestyle. From downtown Los Angeles, I'm Rasha Goel for LA This Week.
An access charge fee ranging from $1 to $2 per hour for charging starts August 22nd. The city's pools will stay open for a few extra weeks. Ways to save on energy costs this summer. And will your children and your children's children still be paying the Measure R sales tax? These stories and more in City Beat. The Department of Recreation and Parks is extending the pool season at 46 pools for an additional 3 weeks to Labor Day, Monday, September 3rd. That means residents can continue to swim recreationally or take lessons at those pools. The welcome news comes at a time when parts of the city are experiencing above 100-degree temperatures. The city's swim season enables children under the age of 18, seniors age 65 or older, and the disabled to swim for free at all city pools. All others pay $2.50 or $2 with the city library card. For more information, call the department's aquatics division at 323-906-7953. And whenever temperatures rise and air conditioners turn on, the LA Department of Water and Power appeals to its customers to conserve energy use whenever possible. Some easy things to do: adjust thermostats to 78 degrees to reduce energy usage during the hottest hours of the day when air conditioning systems have to work hardest to cool. Limit the use of appliances like dishwashers, washing machines, and dryers during peak hours as well. And even something as easy as unplugging electronics that aren't in use, such as cell phone chargers, DVD players, and microwaves, can help save electricity. For more energy-saving tips, go to ladwp.com. The Metropolitan Transportation Authority Board of Directors wants to extend the Measure R half-cent sales tax voters approved in 2008 into 2069. Proponents say extending Measure R, which pays for transportation infrastructure projects, will allow Metro to take advantage of low interest rates and speed up projects. But at a special MTA board meeting, several community members spoke out against the extension.
Just to be clear, this Measure R extension is also about accelerating highway, and 8 of the projects that are being proposed is all about increasing roadway capacity, and there is nothing environmental or public transit friendly about that.
Without the extension, the Measure R sales tax would expire in 2039. The LA County Board of Supervisors has voted to put the Measure R sales tax extension on the November ballot. The ribbon has been cut and the park officially opened in Valley Village. Visitors at the new Valley Village Park, located at 5000 West Park Drive in Councilman Paul Krikorian's district, will find 20 new picnic tables, 2 game tables, a new walking path, 3 park benches, and a shade structure over the children's play area. Funding for the park came from Quinby fees. As we told you earlier, school is back in session at LAUSD, but class of another kind was also in session a few weeks ago. The students, civic-minded Angelenos who got a crash course on just how city government works and how to use that knowledge to better their communities. Gil Reyes takes us to Government 101.
This free one-day course offered in English and Spanish is long overdue for Angelenos like Bonnie Kim.
I feel like Los Angeles in many ways is lacking in providing workshops or tutorials about civic engagement, and I really appreciate that the councilman's office is providing such a service.
Councilmember Eric Garcetti has hosted Government 101 workshops for the past 11 years.
It's the basics to help you get a park in your neighborhood, to figure out how to make sure that you have the right shops and easy places to walk to make sure that you can reduce traffic in a dangerous intersection.
Maneuvering through the legislative process can be complicated, even for City Hall veterans, but this course aims to simplify. Let's say you want to add a park in your neighborhood. The course shows you that you could approach Councilmember Richard Alarcon, who chairs the Arts, Parks, Health, and Aging Committee. If approved by his committee and the City Attorney's Office, your idea could be presented to the LA City Council for a vote. But the entire process begins with you.
I fundamentally believe the answers to our problems don't come from City Hall, or they don't come from a boardroom, or they don't come from the university. They come from a block where people live. They know that block better than anybody else. We just have to give them the tools how they can bring the change they need.
The program has graduated more than 1,000 people, now armed with the basic knowledge of turning their ideas into reality. In downtown LA, Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
Government 101 takes place once a year, usually during the summer. And in this week's list of things to do, Shakespeare in the Park, a star party, and young mariachi performers. Catch the Comedy of Errors at the Old Zoo in Griffith Park on Friday, August 24th at 7 p.m. It's part of the Griffith Park Free Shakespeare Festival presented by the Independent Shakespeare Company. A live band and period dancing complete Shakespeare's most compact and fast-paced comedy. Performances are free, but donations are welcomed. The Old Zoo is located near the Ranger Station at 4730 Crystal Springs Drive. Go to iscla.org for more information. And the stars have aligned on Saturday, August 25th for a public star party at the Griffith Observatory. Free public star parties are held monthly with the assistance of the Los Angeles Astronomical Society and the Los Angeles Sidewalk Astronomers at the Griffith Observatory from 2 p.m. to 9:45 p.m. They are a chance for the whole family to look at the sun, moon, visible planets, and other objects, to try out a variety of telescopes, and to talk to knowledgeable amateur astronomers about the sky and their equipment. The Griffith Observatory is located at 2800 East Observatory Road. More info can be found at griffithobservatory.org. Mariachi Tesoro de San Fernando. Here, this youth mariachi ensemble play traditional and popular music of Mexico. You can catch this ensemble play on Saturday, August 25th at the Skirball Cultural Center at noon and again at 2 p.m. It's all part of the museum's Family Amphitheater performances, which are included with museum admission. The Skirball Cultural Center is located at 2701 North Sepulveda Boulevard. Go to skirball.org for details. And that's a look at some upcoming things to do. So what's better than a taco? A lot of tacos. And at LA Taco Fest 2012, it was heaven on earth for those who love the tortilla-wrapped treats. Now that's a bite. At LA Taco Fest 2012, no bite's too big, and there's plenty to go around as taco vendors and taco lovers converge on the Mariachi Plaza.
Here in Boa Heights, where there's certainly a lot of tacos sold each and every day, but we thought we'd bring more people out here to taste different tacos and, you know, celebrate good food.
And good food starts with fresh ingredients. Each taco was made to order, starting with freshly pressed tortillas. But what goes into the tacos, well, that depends on your taste.
They're vegetarian friendly here at the Taco Fest.
There's tacos de lengua, tacos de sangre, and for those who are Spanish impaired, tacos de lengua means tongue tacos. Tacos de sangre means blood tacos.
For the faint of stomach, there are the more familiar tacos, even tacos de pastrami. And for yet another layer of flavor, some mariachi music to go with your tacos.
We're just hanging out, having some tacos,
great tacos,
enjoying the time here with all the people out here in Boyle Heights.
Absolutely.
Having a great time.
The only downside, there aren't enough hours in the day to try every type of taco. But there's always next year. Some of the money raised at LA Taco Fest will go to Hoviness Inc., a Boyle Heights organization that provides shelter and job training for homeless youth. And that's going to do it for this edition. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ellen Chang. A reminder that you could catch us online at lacityview.org. You can also follow and like us on Facebook. We'll see you back here next week for more of LA This Week.
Bulky item pickup? Call 311, the toll-free number for non-emergency services. 311, your one call to City Hall.
Hi, I'm Kevin from Chatsworth, offering you a taste of New Orleans since 1986. You're watching LA City View, Channel 35. Our city, our channel.
be starting shortly, Madam Clerk. We'll just wait. Okay, good morning. It is Friday, August 24th. If you would please be quiet, if we could keep the noise level down. Shh. Welcome to your Los Angeles City Council meeting. We meet every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10 a.m. The public is welcome. You can come down to just watch your government work, or you can come down and give public comment. With that said, Madam Clerk, I believe we have a quorum. Could you please call the roll?
Alarcon, Buscaino, Cardenas, Englander, Garcetti, Weezer, Carrasco, Krikorian, Labange, Parks, Perry, Reyes, Rosendahl, Zine, Wesson, Timmer is present in a quorum, Mr. President.
First order of business.
Approval of the minutes.
Okay, Englander moves, Buscaino seconds. Next.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Krikorian moves, Labange seconds. Where does that bring us on today's agenda?
If you wish to run through the agenda, item 1 is an item notice for public hearing. There is a request by the Department of Building and Safety to continue this item for 60 days to October 23rd.
Okay, so we will, without objection, continue item 1. Number, the second section, 2 through 10.
Items 2 through 10 are items for which public hearings have been held.
Specials members, 2 through 10. Specials members. Okay, Mr. Weezer.
Number 10, please.
Mr. 10 for Mr. Weezer. Let's prepare to vote on the remaining items. Let us open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes. And the ordinance for item number 3 will be held over for 1 week unless reconsidered.
Yes. Okay, and it may have to happen that way. I don't anticipate we'll be at 12 today. The next section, which is items 11 through 30.
Items 11 through 31 are items for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes required for consideration.
Okay, without objection, those items are now before us. Mr. Labange.
Just on 29, we're just saluting the great city of London for their Olympic Games, as well as asking one day in the future we get the games back. And I see one of the great, I just want to do this for a second, Herb, if I could.
Go right ahead.
Maureen Kindle, who is a key component of the 84 games, who happens to be here now. There's a big shout out for London in the hopes that Los Angeles gets the games again.
All right. Okay.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk, cards.
Cards on items 22, 23, 29, 30, and 31, and 11 and 12.
And what? I didn't hear their last.
11 and 12.
So there are cards on 11.
Yes.
Okay. Members specials? Okay, I don't see any requests from the members. If we could open the roll, Madam Clerk, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Okay, that brings us where?
On the continuation agenda, item 32 is an item for which a public hearing has not been held. 10 votes required for consideration. And I believe Mr. Labange has a substitute motion for this item which has not been circulated. Do you wish to hold it on the desk?
So why don't we hold item 32 until the substitute motion is circulated? Any cards on that item?
No cards.
Okay. Okay, the next item is what, our 33?
Yes, but that's at the special meeting, Mr. President.
And item 33 is what?
Item 33 is an ordinance for the Department of General Services officers to remain in Los Angeles City Employee Retirement System.
Okay. All right, so we'll just hold that for now. So that brings us where?
To items called special or presentations.
Okay, I don't think we're ready for our presentations as of yet. So what I would like to do is take up some of the items. Mr. Walsh, are you here? John Walsh? We're going to take up item 12. John Walsh, HollywoodHighland.org.
Should I do the limbo here?
I believe you could do it, John.
high jump. This is the LA high jump.
Good morning, Mr.
Good morning. John Walsh, greeting you for the first time in the post-ZEV world of Los Angeles. Thank God. The item is number 12. I always like to instruct people, if they're going to go off the subject, go back on the subject, go off the subject, go back on the subject. That's the only way that you can get away with it. Number 12.
Quit training everybody, John.
I know, and watch out or I'll get some of those people from the county to come over here. Number 12 is removing, this is REAP. And as we've said, we believe that REAP is doing a good job. Not that I've had any trouble with my landlord. He's stingy, but he's not evil. HollywoodHighlands.org, or now go to Mayor Sam, and then he'll bring you right to the Zevogram that I put up. Go to Mayor Sam yesterday, HollywoodHighlands.org. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Walsh. Okay, on this item, Madam Clerk, let's we're going to prepare to vote. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
John, don't go. Mr. Walsh, come back. Item 11.
I don't speak twice in a row.
You want to waive on this one?
Yeah.
Okay. No speakers in the queue. Madam Clerk, let's prepare to vote on this item. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Mr. Sachs, are you here? Arnold Sachs. We'll go to item 22, Arnold. So just take your time and come on down. Sergeants, we may want to deal with the rope out there. Good morning, Mr. Sachs. You have the floor.
Good morning. Thank you, Arnold Sachs. I'm very impressed with this, the way this item is written down here and the way it's divided up with the funding, how it's portioned out through the different accounts. Because several times before, when I've come before the City Council and I've asked about how the accounting is done for special funds, in today's agenda, you have the General City Purposes Fund, you have the Lopez Canyon Landfill, the Sunshine Canyon Landfill Fund, the Street Furniture Revenue Fund, and the AB 1290 funds. And yet, in this item, how succinct you are in portioning out funding for El Grito. So maybe, because you're asking for tax increases, you could tell the public just how much money is available in these different kinds of funds, and let the people have an idea of what kind of money is available to the councils in the council's districts. It would really be enlightening before you go looking to nickel and dime again the public on raising taxes, raising fees, and cutting services. Thank you.
Mr. Huizar.
Thank you, Mr. President. Can we hold this item on the desk? We have a substitute motion, and
can't you do it verbally? It's my understanding that it's non-controversial and it's basically clarification.
Sure. It's a CD6 instead of the. That's coming to me right now. So why don't we just hold it?
Okay. So Mr. Sachs, don't come back up. We're going to move, and if you could signal me, Mr. Huizar, we're going to go to items 23 and 29, which were held special by Mr. Sachs.
I'm ready, Mr. President.
Okay, as Arnold's coming down, he is ready, so let's stay on 22. If you could just read it, Mr. Huizar.
Okay. It's just a technical amendment. The substitute motion is being circulated right now, and we, instead of the, for CD6, instead of the civic fund, GSP funds, they're using the civic funds.
Fine, that's fine. Okay, no speakers on the queue. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
And now we'll go to item 23. which was called Special by Mr. Arnold Sachs. Welcome again, Mr. Sachs.
Thank you again, Arnold Sachs. Here, this is $18,000 for graffiti abatement in Council District 1, and yet Council District 1, Councilman Reyes stood up in the council chambers and mentioned that he doesn't have the money for sidewalk repair, that Walmart would come in, he needs funding for sidewalk repair. So again, I ask, what about AB 1290 funds? Councilman Vizcaino's motion is $500,000 in AB 1290 funds. You know, that's the money that's returned from redevelopment to each council district. How is that money spent? $43 million worth of money, and yet the public is left out in the cold. How is that money allocated? How is that money used? Why isn't some of it provided for the city's general fund? You want, again, raise taxes and fees. And I held item number 29. That was a congratulations to London, because I'm wondering, since the City Council is so willing to step up and congratulate London, if they're willing to step up and condemn Russia for the action they took against Pussy Riot, the ban.
Mr. Wesson, he's not talking
He'll
about
come back on it. I appreciate that, Mr. City. Arnold, just come back.
You mentioned 23 and 29. So I was,
yeah, but you're going to do 29 next.
Well, I'm done with 23, sir.
Okay, then let's prepare to vote.
My time with 29.
Let's prepare to vote on this item. Madam Clerk, open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Mr. Reyes, stay there, Arnold. Mr. Reyes.
Forthwith on 6 and 7, please.
Without objection. Okay, now we're on item 29. Mr. Sachs.
Okay, let me finish very quick. Again, I mentioned the fact that you're so quick to congratulate London. How about stepping up with a resolution to condemn Russia for the action they took in imprisoning those 3 female song musicians from Pussy Riot? You know, it's obscene. You took a motion condemning the radio announcers for using the term crackho regarding Whitney Houston. This is another item of free speech.
Mr. President, he is not talking about this item.
Stay on the item.
He could compare this to any item. He's not talking about this item.
You're talking about a recommendation, a commendation for the City of London. I'm asking for a commendation regarding condemning the Russian government for taking the action they did in court. That's all I'm talking about.
What you get?
Why don't you get a yes on that, City Attorney?
Okay, on this item, there are no speakers in the queue. Let us open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Okay, Mr. Labange, it's my understanding that the item 32 is ready to go.
Substitute motion has been circulated.
Thank you.
Okay, so Mr. Labange is asking for an aye vote. Madam Clerk, let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Mr. Zine, Mr. Huizar, are you ready for your presentation, or do you want me to take some general public comment? In fact, we'll do a couple of general public comments. We're going to do general public comment. If I could have Marie Salas, Elsa Almeida, John Walsh, please come forward. Marie Salas, please come forward. Lisa.
Good morning,
Yes,
President
good morning.
and City Council. My name is Marie Salas, and I live in El Sereno. I've been a resident of El Sereno for 16 years, and I was born and raised here in Los Angeles. I am very confused and upset and angry about the position that our current councilman, Jose Huizar, is taking on and I feel that we are not being supported in El Sereno against the No 710. Alhambra wants a tunnel, but not in their community. San Marino wants a tunnel, but not in their community. El Sereno does not want a tunnel in our community, nor does South Pasadena.
Ms. Salas.
Yes?
General public comment, you're really not supposed to speak to items that are on the agenda. That item is on today's agenda.
Oh, you know, they told me we didn't have a item number, so they said for me to put it under public comment.
Okay, what I'll do is I'll take your card and put it under item 30.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
And then we'll call you at that time.
Thank you so much.
Lisa, are you here to speak to the same issue?
Basically, yes.
Okay, so what we'll do, we'll take your card and we'll put it under item 30, and when item 30 comes up, you will be called.
All right, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Walsh.
John Walsh, we have a new post up a few days ago, HollywoodHighlands.org, or go to Walsh Confidential, or go to Mayor Sam, and you can go straight into our Zev post. And stay tuned, because Dollhouse Dude will do something legal in front of this city council that has never been done before. My goal is always to do something new. That anytime I come up, that's why I'm on the Jimmy Kimmel Show. Okay, let's put Zev. We now have two people running. Now, the media says Zev decided he was too old and couldn't hack it. Well, I've been saying that for 7 months or a year. But I want to say that the media treated Zev as if he were a lifelong bachelor. Why wasn't there a single mention of his wife there? And you want to know why there wasn't? Well, you go to our website, HollywoodHighlands.org, and you find out the real reason. Remember the Prince of Wales giving up the being King of England for the woman he loved? Well, Zev did the same thing. He gave up being a mayor for the woman he loves currently. Everybody knows what I'm saying is true, and you will only find it at HollywoodHighlands.org. And I want to talk about Rick Caruso. Now, Mr. Caruso, I invite you in there. I can't tell you how much dirt I have on you, and which I will release. And I'm talking about documented dirt. He knows I chased Zev out of the race, and I will chase you out of the race, Mr. Caruso, and the dirt is on your multi-million-dollar father, and the dirt is on your brother. And I have it. You know it. Everybody knows it. It's not in the media. If you want to know what's happening in Los Angeles, as you know, that's why we sometimes get 40,000 a day, 40,000 a week successful server requests. HollywoodHighlands.org. Thank you.
You're going to go after Jose. Okay, thank you. Gloria Castro. Followed by Arnold Sachs, Dr. Tom Williams.
I'll lay over my comment to agenda item for 30.
Okay, we'll put it on item 30.
But my question is, sir, are we going to get extra time to go ahead and opine?
Well, there's not going to be extra time. I'll speak with the member. We'll come up with what the time limit is going to be, and the people that are for it will be given X amount of time, and people that are against it will be given X amount of time.
And I'm against it.
Okay, but still,
okay.
when it comes up, you'll be able to say that.
Well, here's a general comment, Honorable Mr. Wesson. There's a man eating a pig head in the chamber. There's a stench of carnitas, which is making me extremely hungry, and I don't know that he will share. And in view of the fact that we were asked to put down our signs, and it is in your rules, we put away our 710 signs, I think that this is violating the decorum of your honorable chamber. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Sergeants, why don't you look into that concern? Dr. Williams, it's good to see you. Mr. Sachs, you're on deck.
Dr. Tom Williams, LA 32 Neighborhood Council board member and chairperson for the Land Use Committee in El Sereno. A little bit of background. MTA. One time I asked the audience, do you trust MTA or Caltrans? They said, no. The people don't trust the council, they don't trust MTA, they don't trust Caltrans for sure. The exercise going on the I-710 South is a good indicator of that. They've blown off everybody's objections. For the SR-710, we participated in the, quotes, conversations, which was supposed to be the scoping portion of the EIR. Our conversations led to a group of alternatives, but we didn't have any choice in the selection of those alternatives. Caltrans did that. And then Caltrans gave something over to MTA. We know not what. Then MTA made further selections without the public input. All of this is against the entire process of CEQA, public participation, full disclosure of objective information. Even now, nobody will tell us what the number of trucks will be, what the number of cars will be on the proposed SR-710. So we're quite concerned about the total lack of transparency on the selection of alternatives and how we got to where we're at today. I know what happened within the council 2 years ago when we had the previous resolution that's being considered, but it hasn't been enforced. It hasn't been given to MTA. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Sachs.
Yes, thank you. Good morning. Arnold Sachs. A little bit of current events. From 8/18, California adds 25,000 jobs in July. From 8/20, LAX brings $39.7 billion to the county and generates 294,000 jobs countywide last year. Where's the recession if LAX? So imagine if Ontario Airport had the same kind of engine. Why don't you sell Ontario Airport? That would bring some money in. But what's interesting about this story also about LAX is they're spending $8.5 billion for capital improvements over the next 10 to 15 years after spending $4.1 billion for the Tom Bradley Terminal and improvements over the last 3 years. So that's $12.1 billion in capital improvements. And you know what? No transit to LAX. How is that possible? Congratulations, LA. Then in today's newspaper, in the Daily Breeze, 2 stories. Foreclosure headaches. LA blight law goes unenforced. I think we mentioned that here. You have REIT programs, you have rent escrow, you have all kinds of programs, but this $1,000 fines against the banks you haven't done jack about. I've got a suggestion. Double the fine to $2,000. Then you can be twice as inefficient. And then this last story, coroner says Icon's death was accidental regarding Rodney King. The first line of the story is Rodney King, whose beating by police officers led to the 1992 Los Angeles riots. Well, that's not true. It wasn't the beating that led to the riots. It was the acquittal of the 5 police officers on the videotape that led to the riots. Because somebody would have thought with that kind of evidence, something was wrong somewhere. So when you get stories like that from reporting, then you get no truth.
Thank you, Mr. Sachs. Okay, Mr. Weezer, are you ready with your presentation? Okay, you have the floor. Mr. Labange.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. President. And just as a public speaker said, there was a surprise by one of the public speakers today. I, too, have a surprise today. And I'd like to introduce the public to a well-known mariachi who has elevated the music of mariachi in the city of Los Angeles, this country, and throughout the world for many, many decades. He is originally from Jalisco, Mexico, where the mariachi music started. He moved to Los Angeles, and for many, many decades, has been one of the best well-known mariachis, along with his group called Mariachi Los Camperos. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you to Navidad Nati Cano.
good. Let's give him another hand. Mr. Weezer, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. As you can see, this is an artistic, beloved music from Mexico that has reached all corners of the earth. And standing with me here today is a gentleman who has helped elevate this music to be known internationally, but particularly here in Los Angeles, where we have so many residents of Mexican descent. And this music was originated, as I said, from Jalisco, Mexico. And there are, of all the states, of all the regions of Mexico, in Los Angeles, the highest number of them come from Jalisco, Mexico, where this music was originated. But with us today is Nati Cano, as he is known, someone who is respected for his talents in not only mariachi music, but generally as an artist. And I'm very honored to have him here today. We in the city of Los Angeles should be proud that Nati Cano calls Los Angeles his home, and this is where he launched his efforts to reach and make mariachi music reach new heights. He is a Grammy Award-winning artist, a pioneer, and is beloved by many people throughout the world. He was born in 1933 to a family. I should have said that? He was born in 1933 to a family of mariachis in Jalisco, and he soon moved to Guadalajara, the second largest city in Mexico, and then came to here to the beautiful City of Angels, Los Angeles. He joined the $1 Million Theater's Mariachi Aguila, and in 1961 he was offered the directorship of the group, which he transformed into what you see here today, which we had the honor of listening to them, to the Mariachi Los Camperos, and the rest is history. Since that time, he and Los Camperos have been a fixture in the Los Angeles area and a driving force in the mariachi tradition throughout the world, blending the older traditional rhythms of mariachi music with complex harmonies of American and Mexican popular music. Nati revolutionized and popularized the mariachi band, a disciplined musician who expects the same from those he plays with. Nati pushed the boundaries of mariachi music while touring throughout the western United States and eventually throughout the world. He eventually opened his own restaurant on Wilshire Boulevard in Council District 1 in Los Angeles, La Fonda, as it is well known, where Nati Cano's Mariachi Los Camperos are featured performers. His longtime association with Linda Ronstadt, backing her up in live performances and on her milestone Canciones de mi Padre, in English it means Songs of My Father, that helped catapult mariachi music to unprecedented national prominence. He has recorded multiple albums and has received numerous awards and distinctions. In 1990, for example, the National Endowment for the Arts honored him with its highest award in the folk and traditional arts. In 2006, he became one of the first artists nationwide to win a USA Fellowship from United States Artists and one of only 5 musicians selected for that prestigious honor. And ladies and gentlemen, on September 15th, here in the city of Los Angeles at the Ford Theater, there will be a tribute to Nati Cano and Los Camperos, directed by Susie Garcia, who's with us here today. And this promises to be a wonderful evening of entertainment, chronicling the success, the life and music achievements of Nati Cano. And we wanted to honor Nati for his lifetime achievement, for making Los Angeles his home, making Los Angeles really one of the regions, along with Jalisco, Mexico, to catapult this type of music throughout the world. So on behalf of the city, you could please join me in giving a huge round of applause to Nati Cano.
Mr. Weezer. Mr. Reyes would like to say a few words.
Bienvenidos. Muchas gracias por los recuerdos y todo lo que han contribuido a esta gran ciudad. I just said thank you so much for the memories and all the contributions to this great city. As Councilman Weezer has said, to start in 1968 at La Fonda and to carry a tradition where it is the only restaurant that for decades, not only could you have dinner, but you listen to quality mariachi music. So as we see every culture that's represented in this great city has its song, its traditions. And to be here, Council Huizar, as a native Mexicano, the first in this council, I can see the pride in which we can share this with the rest of the world. What's beautiful about the city is that we can say that for every country that's here in this great metropolis. And to hear our songs of our fathers, our parents, celebrated here, I hope can reinforce a sense of identity and self-esteem for our youth, who tend to lose a sense of what is so precious from their abuelitos, from their tios, from their madres and papas, because this is what we hear on Sundays when we gather as families. So I want to thank you for that moment and to reaffirm what is so beautiful about all our cultures, but in particular the mariachi music for the Mexicanos. Muchas gracias.
I just want to say, thank you and to let you know that I'm proud of this group. We've been together as a group for 51 years. At La Fonda, we spent there 39 years. We're not there anymore because the guys had to travel all over. So, but I'm very proud, and all I can say, thank you, muchas gracias, viva Los Angeles, my dream. That was my dream when I was a little boy. I had to conquer Los Angeles, and thank you for everything. Thank you very much, and I'm proud of this. Thank you, Susie. Thank you, Campero. Thank you.
The city of Los Angeles is very proud of you, Mr. Huizar.
Thank you. And now we'll have Susie, who will talk to us a little bit about the tribute that will be made to Nat Icano at the Ford Theater.
First, I want to say thank you to Councilman Huizar for his constant support of the cultural arts in Los Angeles. I happen to be a student of Nat Icano's. He has inspired me over my life to be a mariachi, but to be more than that, and that's an advocate of cultural preservation. So I say viva la tradición, and we invite all of you to the 15th of September at the John Anson Ford Theater to a beautiful tribute to a charismatic man who is a cultural icon for all of us, no más mexicanos, but for all the world. So muchas gracias a todos. Have a wonderful day, and viva la tradición.
Give us that other date coming up at John Anson Ford Theater.
John Anson Ford Theater, the 15th of September at 8 o'clock p.m.
Great, and it's a great little venue there, right across from the Hollywood Bowl on the east side of Cahuenga.
Thank you so much.
Great job.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. We'll go in the back, and my council members, I did promise you on Wednesday some bolillos, some Mexican pan dulce, and some tamales in the back. You're welcome to go join us and talk a little bit with Los Camperos. And last but not least, when you go see a show of Los Mariachis, it's an artistic event. You realize the talents that these gentlemen and women have, and it's just a beautiful thing to see. It's like going to an orchestra show or anything else, and it's great that here in the city of Los Angeles, as we celebrate our diversity, we have these options to see some of the best in the world at places like the Ford Theater and other places. So, que viva Mexico, que viva los mariachis, que viva Jalisco, y que viva Los Angeles, y que viva Nat Icano. Thank you.
Very good. And let's play on the way out. Play Los Colineros on the way out. That would be good. Los Colineros.
On the way out, yeah, we can walk back out. This way.
Play something. Councilman Dennis Zine, please. Dennis Zine for the next presentation.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, Kaiser Permanente, where they thrive to keep people healthy, and we are here to recognize Kaiser Permanente for aquatics. Why don't you come up and join us? And Paul Koretz, your wife, is here with us this morning. Yale, come on up here. What are you hiding for? Everybody knows who you are. Come on up. So we are proud to recognize Kaiser Permanente for its leadership and contributions to the community, not only of Los Angeles, but to this region. And I'm joined by the Kaiser team with Director of Government Community Relations, Rita Speck. Rita, say good morning. Good morning. Managing Director, Angela Coron. Angela. And Gail Koretz. Now, what do you do at Kaiser? You are Government and Community Relations Manager.
At the Los Angeles Medical Center.
Hey, come on, come closer to me. Let's make Paul jealous. All right. So, also the Department of Recs and Parks Aquatics Division, we have Trish Delgado.
Good morning.
Good morning. And we've seen Trish before. So you wonder, what does Kaiser Permanente have to do with the City of Los Angeles and aquatics and recs and parks? 7 years ago, Operation Splash, which partners with the City of Los Angeles Recs and Parks Aquatics Division, has provided more than 6,000 children and their families free swim lessons and opportunities for physical activity every single summer. This amazing program includes free swim lessons, junior lifeguard training, and an extended pool session. And we know we're doing that right now in the San Fernando Valley, where the temperatures have been extreme. Operation Splash took place at 48 city pools throughout the city of LA, which includes 4 in my district. And I was at the pool yesterday afternoon with a LA Times reporter, Reseda Park. Cleveland High School, we have a public pool at Cleveland High School, Reseda Recreation Center, Lanark Park, and Woodland Hills. Estimated that since 2006, 3,052 youth have participated in the junior lifeguard program, and this summer 780 people are being trained to become junior lifeguards. Operation Splash is a component of Kaiser Permanente's HEAL, Healthy Eating, Active Living, and I'm reflective of that.
You look great.
Thank you very much. Whose objective is reducing obesity in the community by increasing opportunities for safe physical activity. By working with health agencies, counties, cities, and schools, HEAL focuses on environmental and social conditions having long-term effects on community health. We know the consequences of obesity and diabetes and other deadly illness. Operation Splash reflects both the City of Los Angeles and Kaiser Permanente's mission to improving the health of the communities that they proudly serve. Kaiser Permanente has made a financial commitment since 2006 of $2.7 million, including $265,000 this summer to the City of Los Angeles Recs and Parks Aquatics Division to support aquatic facilities and swim programs. Who do you work for? You want to come up here and stand next to your wife? Come on, Paul. You can come next to your wife. Come on. Paul is jealous over there. Councilmember Paul Koretz. The success of the program has led Kaiser Permanente to replicate Operation Splash model in 6 other communities in Southern California, include Chula Vista, Coachella Valley, Kern County, Riverside, and San Bernardino and Ventura. It's a great honor that the City Council is proud to recognize Kaiser Permanente for its ongoing collaboration with the City of Los Angeles to provide access, physical activity, and improve the health of children and families. And we do have a resolution signed by the city family to Kaiser Permanente for the wonderful work that they have done with this great program. And being at the pool yesterday, I asked, oh, how do you swim for free? They said if you're 65 or older, you swim for free. And if you're a youth, you swim for free. And the rest of them have to pay a minimal fee to go swimming. So you're into aquatics. I'm into aquatics. Let's hear from you. And then we'll hear from the Kaiser Permanente folks. And we'll hear from our city swimmer. Go ahead, Paul. Get over here.
Well, as a Kaiser baby myself, since I was born at Kaiser, it's my honor to help recognize a partnership between the City of Los Angeles and a model healthcare organization. And when I was a kid, I was in a summer camp program that spent a lot of time at the Cheviot Hills pool. We had a lot of fun, we got some great exercise, and it was a great opportunity. And it's a wonderful thing that so many kids will have this same opportunity because of this program. And in fact, Cheviot Hills Park, that pool is one of the pools that was kept open by this. So this is a very exciting opportunity to recognize a great program and a great healthcare organization. And we appreciate what they've done and how it's helped people in Los Angeles live, work, and thrive.
Live, work, and thrive. That's the motto. So let's hear from Kaiser Permanente, and then we'll hear from our aquatic section. Kaiser Permanente.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Council President Wesson and members of the City Council, thank you for taking the time today to celebrate and recognize Operation Splash. Congratulations to the City Department of Recreation and Parks for a century-long commitment to parks and pools. Thank you for giving generations of Angelinos a chance to stay happy and fit. Kaiser Permanente does share a common goal with you. We're both committed to helping our communities thrive by making it easier and fun for families to be healthy and active. Kaiser Permanente is committed to the total health of the communities that we serve. The Operation Splash program is part of our Healthy Eating, Active Living focus on reducing obesity in the community. We strive to make the healthy choice the easy choice through all of our HEAL initiatives, including Operation Splash. Thank you very much for this wonderful partnership, and congratulations on 100 years of success.
Thank you. Trish, aquatics.
On behalf of the Department of Recreation and Parks, I would like to thank Kaiser for their tremendous and continuous support of our aquatic programs. We have kids that have learned to swim, who have gone into our junior guard program, and who have become lifeguards for us and for the City of Los Angeles. So again, thank you very much, Kaiser.
So with that, we want to acknowledge Kaiser Permanente for all those folks that were able to use the city pools in this tight financial situation. We owe a lot to Kaiser for continuing this program for all the many, many years. And it's a wonderful program. We're going to keep our pools, I understand, open until Labor Day or a day after Labor Day, if I'm not mistaken. Is that, Trish, is that right? Labor Day? They'll be open Labor Day, and then that's it. And after Labor Day, everybody's back to work and back to school, etc. So, Tom LaBonge, while you're doing your walks over at Griffith Park, you can stop by the local pool, Mr. LaBonge, and take a splash, Mr. LaBonge.
Okay, Mr. Zine.
Thank you, Mr. West.
No, wait. Mr. Zine?
Yes, sir.
We have Joey Buscaino on the queue.
Buscaino.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. Zine, for bringing Kaiser to the council chambers. I want to publicly thank Kaiser Permanente, not only for taking care of my parents, they are members of Kaiser Permanente, but also taking care of my residents in Watts. With the Family Resource Center there. Kaiser has been such a great community partner in my Watts community, and on behalf of my constituents, my residents in Watts, we thank you for promoting healthy living, providing medical resources for my residents in Watts. I just want to thank Kaiser for their ongoing love, passion, and commitment to serve the great Watts community. Thank you.
Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Let's give them another round of applause.
Let me just acknowledge Ms. Perry, who's also concerned about health consciousness and reducing obesity in our community, and that's what this program is all about, keeping people healthy, keeping them active. Mr. President, thank you very much. Let's go back to the photo.
Okay, Madam Clerk, we're going to now move to item 30. You know, Michael, I didn't see a public comment card. I'll look again, but I didn't see one. I meant to ask you earlier. Okay, we're going to go to item 30. The best photographer on the planet, one of the best, is here. Toyo. Anyway, go on, Mr. Huizar.
Thank you, Mr. President. And colleagues, what's before us today is a reconfirmation of the city's position with respect to building the 710 extension up north to the 210. We in the past have opposed some routes that would destroy communities in northeast Los Angeles and El Sereno. And quite frankly, we as a city, and I certainly don't want to see these communities destroyed. should that freeway be built. And I want to thank all the people who've come out here today to let us know the concern in our communities that has been created by the discussion of the EIR that is currently going through the process. The MTA voted a few months ago to move forward with the EIR. As you know, I'm an appointment by Mayor Villaraigosa on the MTA board, and I think I was one of 2 board members who voted against moving forward with the project. I thought at the time that there was no defined project. It hadn't been made clear to the public about what those routes would be. I also thought that the MTA and Caltrans should be studying multimodal means of transportation, perhaps extending the light rail line through that area. And the EIR wasn't specific about studying those alternative possibilities of multimodal transportation to support more public transportation as opposed to the single automobile. So it moved forward, and as expected, since MTA hadn't defined a route, it has created a lot of concerns throughout the Northeast area because they put out some routes that, quite frankly, are unrealistic, don't make sense, but all it has done was create concern amongst all these communities. And but here we are today. The MTA is moving forward, and let me be clear and support what a lot of community members have been saying, and that is that the MTA has done a poor job of communicating to the public exactly what is going on, what are the different alternatives, and what those impacts are. I've asked for a community meeting in my district for MTA to come back and do a much better job. For example, in one of the first meetings, they had no technical advisors at those meetings. It was all the PR people out there trying to sell this project rather than tell the public what the project is and what are the pros and cons. So what's before us today calls for the city to once again take an official position and oppose certain routes. They're known as H2, H6, F2, F5, and F6, and any above-ground highway or freeway that will cut through the city of Los Angeles. Now, let me be clear about one point, which is also still a point of contention, and that is, well, why wouldn't we oppose an underground tunnel that has been talked about? Quite frankly, we, at this time, do not have the information about that tunnel. We are clear that any above ground is definitely off. We want that off the table. But there has been talk that perhaps a tunnel will make it less congested for communities of El Sereno, where currently the 710 lets out all that traffic. I don't believe that. But until we get that information, I think we would be in a better position whether we say yes or no to the tunnel. We don't have that information yet. The information we do have about above ground and all these other alternates that don't make sense just are completely out of the picture. But we want to get the information, should the MTA and Caltrans continue to move forward about a tunnel, and see what those impacts are. I'm telling you right now quite clearly, me personally, I don't support that. But let's get that information and then at that point we will decide whether we agree with it or not. When I voted against the EIR moving forward, I thought to myself, this train has left the station. It seemed like there was this momentum just to move forward no matter what happened. I think that's a dangerous thing for the MTA and Caltrans to do. We should take this very slowly, very thoughtfully, gather the information, and then move forward. So that is what's before us today. Mr. President, I understand that we would hope to have that some of the members of the Council and the public perhaps want to have a more thorough conversation about this. And so we want to perhaps continue this item and have a special Transportation Committee meeting on Monday and then come back on Tuesday to take a vote on this item. But we want to do this before the 29th, when there will be some action. And that way we could have a more robust conversation about this, fully understand as a city what we're doing before we move forward. So Mr. President, if you don't mind, I'd ask that, is Mr. Koretz here?
Well, I've already spoken to Mr. Koretz. It's my understanding that he will call a special transportation hearing this Monday to address this item so that the council can hear it on Tuesday.
Okay. And we had originally scheduled it and waived it out of Transportation Committee because of the urgency to act before the 29th deadline. But now we're seeing that it's perhaps best to have a thorough vetting of the issue in committee before it comes back to full council on Tuesday.
Okay, thank you. So for those of you that came here to testify on item 30, that before this council meeting is over, we'll inform you of the time of the committee meeting on Monday, and hopefully you'll be able to attend at that time. So thank you, Mr. Weezer. That item, without objection, is continued until Tuesday, this coming Tuesday.
Yes.
Okay.
And for the public who came here today, thank you for coming. I will be in the back if anybody wants to talk to me. And again, I apologize for you having come out and still holding this, but I think do we have a number of cards still, Mr. President? Yes.
Yes, we do.
Okay.
I didn't hear what you said.
Yeah. Can we hear some of those cards? And the issue is, too, since...
Well, see, if the item is not before us, Mr. Weezer, so what I would prefer to do is to have the public come and testify on Monday, and we'll have a special period of time on Tuesday where they can testify, because technically we've continued this item and we don't want to set a precedent.
I got you.
You have a full hearing. Full hearing.
Yeah. Mr. President, two issues. Number one is whenever we continue an item, there is no public comment allowed. Number two, if we allow public comment today, even if we make an exception to that rule, public comment will be closed as a hearing for the future meeting, correct? So let me say this. I think it's best after we have the committee meeting, then come back to council and allow those two to be the hearings. That way, number one, we wouldn't break any council rules. And number two, I think that's the best forum to take place. I'll meet in the back with everyone if you would like, but I think that's probably the best route at this time, best option.
Okay, so...
we'll find out right now.
Mr. Weezer, if you would go to the back so that you could meet with the constituents.
Yeah.
And we will now bring up item, is it 31? No, in fact, we'll go back to general public comment. Michael Carrion, Jose Estrada, Teresa Hernandez-Cano.
President, I am Teresa Hernandez-Cano, but my comment was for item 30.
Okay, Mr. Carrion.
For all the people here on the 710, this is a perfect example of Mr. Weezer waiting for the last moment to screw you over, to bring all you people here and not let you speak. Mr. Weezer was aware of all the policies here, and if he postponed it, all you people drove down here for nothing. Shame on Mr. Weezer. I think everybody here should learn that that's going to be your next councilman if you choose to drag this on. Mr. Weezer should pay attention to 710 the way he does bring back Broadway. But he doesn't care about El Sereno. All the money's downtown and bring back Broadway. It's pathetic when your councilman screws you over this way. Then he wants to take you to the back to try to cover it up. Shame on him. Another item here, it seems that every time I turn my cards into the elderly gentleman here, I don't know his name, it gets lost. It gets misplaced. He walks around here picking on all the Latinos
Well, he allows all the African Americans to get away with everything. Shame on him. A couple of people here say that this council is racist. Yes, it is. And that's despicable. You know, you come down here and you try to talk to people and you get bamboozled. I'm getting to the point where I'm tired of my councilman lying to us and putting all his efforts downtown. Okay? I'm going to give him one opportunity before we start more petitions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Are you Mr. Estrada?
No, I'm Mr. Jones.
Well, I haven't gotten to Mr. Jones yet. Dow House Dude, Bobby Cooper, Guillermo Alvarez, Dow House Dude.
The previous guy is right. You should stop your Latino bashing. I get bashed every time I move like this. No, you gotta move like that. Every time I put a hat, no, you gotta take the hat off. If I bring a pig's head, so what? It's a pig's head. You know, what's the big deal? Anyway, the main thing I'm telling you, why do you keep everybody homeless? What is wrong with you people? Don't you know any better way to do business than to keep people homeless? What is wrong with you? Have you asked yourself that question? What in the hell is wrong with me? Have you? I go along with everybody spending billions of dollars and getting nothing done. What is wrong with you all? I didn't come to tell you what's wrong with you. I'm telling you there are better ways to do things. And one of them is to house every single person in the world so that we can have a better society. We don't want to have to come here all the time and say, they gave me a ticket for this, they gave me a ticket for that. It's just your way of taking people's money. We pay you enough in taxes. Why do you keep taking our money in illegal ways? There are so many parking meters that don't work, and nobody's ever voted for a parking meter. Why do you have them? Because you want to steal the people's money. And you want to keep everybody homeless by collecting illegal taxes and everything. It is time to change the way we do business. We cannot go on like this. Every city hall, look at Fullerton. Look at Fullerton. The people are protesting over there. Look at every city hall. You're all liars and thieves.
Thank you. Thank you. Bobby Kenneth Cooper, Guillermo Alvarez, Jose Estrada. Please come forward. Come on, guys, let's go. Come on. Sergeants, come on. It's not
Good
that
morning,
difficult.
Mr. President, members of the council. I'm Guillermo Alvarenga, and this is Mr. Jose Estrada. I will be translating for him, and then I'll go after him.
Go right ahead.
Buenos días, señor presidente. Soy José Estrada. Yo vivo en El Sereno y vengo aquí porque estoy de acuerdo al mejoramiento del Boulevard Huntington Drive.
Good morning. My name is Jose Estrada, and the reason I'm here is because I'm pro the development of the beautification of the Council Wizard District 14, beautification of Huntington Drive Boulevard.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now you.
Yes, good morning. I also would like to second that motion because I am pro the beautification of the boulevard under the jurisdiction of Mr. Councilman Wizard. I think that I have seen an improvement in the community. I've been a resident of El Sereno for the last 30 years, and over the last councilmen who have represented District 14, I've never seen so much improvement in the area. I really would like to not only commend, acknowledge, and appreciate all the time and effort that Mr. Wizard has put into the community. I've seen many improvements, although we are challenged with the the community, because it's not a perfect community. However, we still like to continue promoting and striving to make our community a good community, so that the city of Los Angeles could not be ashamed to say, well, this is a bad community, this is an ugly community. People get scared, and they just come back with saying negative remarks, and not appreciating that in El Sereno we have very good citizens, people who are concerned, people who care, people who really like to see better things and changes that are happening. And like I'm saying, over the last 30 years, I've never seen any improvements like we have experienced during the tenure of Mr. Weiser. And I am proud of him. I support him 100%. I know the 710 is another issue, and I didn't come here to talk about that, but maybe I will after. But then again, I just want to let you know that he has proposed the beautification. I will recommend the council to consider, the improvement, so that we can get the funding, so that we can establish, what has been proposed over the last few meetings that we had in our community. I just want to thank you, and God bless you, God bless Los Angeles, and God bless America.
Thank you. Marie Salas and Ms. Castro. And it's my understanding this is general public comment.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Again, good morning, council members. I just want to say that I was very appalled, and I felt disrespected today in the way I was treated. I think as a person who has been living in Los Angeles for 51 years, was treated horrible today. And although I love mariachis, I think they had more time and were more appreciated and more respected than people like myself, who have been a volunteer for over 25 years for this community. And I just felt really appalled by the way I was treated, and how we were derailed.
Okay, and we apologize for that. Please come forward.
Thank you for resetting it. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for allowing me to give my general comment. Generally, Latinos shrug off and don't like anything that feels like Chavez Ravine. What happened in Chavez Ravine? Well, we were promised jobs and we were promised housing. And anything that sounds like we're promised jobs and better traffic and better communities and shorter commutes just stinks. And quite honestly, when we're not told the entire truth about things, for example, that the true intent of routes being built through any of our communities have in mind goods being shipped from foreign manufacturers that stole our jobs, and now that we don't have any jobs to go to. And so I just wanted to make it very clear how this feels. And the community will not forget Chavez Ravine, and will cringe at the suggestion of putting us between race and class and socioeconomic issues, such as, for example, pitting a very wealthy white community versus a brown one that is up and coming and getting gentrified. We're all going to stand together and try to convince and come and meet at the middle to come up with great solutions. But please, City Council, do not be on the wrong side of this very important environmental justice issue. And please don't let it repeat itself that you create another Chavez Ravine where a bunch of Latinos that lost their jobs are convinced that this is about traffic and that it's about moving goods, people, because you will not get MTA, to tell you the truth. So please hold MTA and Caltrans and anyone else that sells you any bill of goods accountable, and make them tell you the truth, because you're our representatives. They can lie to us all they want, but we look to you for leadership, especially in these very difficult times. And again, thank you so much, Mr. Wesson, for allowing Ms. Marie Salas and myself to speak. And Tom LaBonge is not here, but go Olympics. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, that concludes general public comment. Let's move to item 31, held special by cards. If I could get Edward Casey, Kathy Knight, Rex Franco, John Walsh, Leslie Purcell. Please just make your way to the front.
Good morning, members of the council. My name is Ed Casey of the law firm of Alston & Bird. I'm here representing Playa Capital Company today, the developer of the Playa Vista project. What you have before you is the second final track map for the project. You approved the first track map a couple months ago with unanimous support, including support from Councilman Rosendale's office. These track maps, both of them, will subdivide lots that will allow new homes and parks to be developed at the Playa Vista project, parks that have already been approved by your planning department, as well as rec and parks. These parks will be open to the entire public. Final maps are typically ministerial actions under California law. The discretionary actions for this project were approved over 2 years ago, including certification of a final EIR. All those entitlements in EIR were fully litigated and upheld by every court, including the California Supreme Court. So now it's time to let this project move forward and allow the members of the community and the 6,500 residents of Playa Vista to start enjoying the project, to allow hundreds of construction workers to get to work on building this project. So we urge your approval. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Walsh.
Oh, no, I was last.
Yeah, I didn't see you guys. Please come forward and state your name.
Yeah, I'm Rex Frankel. I submitted a 27-page letter in opposition. It's in the council's file, and I'll let other speakers go on. Thank you.
No, thank you. So do we have Kathy Knight? Yes, go right ahead.
Yes, I want to hand these out.
Sergeants, would you please come take this from Ms. Knight?
Thank you.
Hold her time.
I didn't have enough for every single person. But I just wanted to show these pictures.
Go right ahead. You are Ms. Knight, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm speaking on behalf of the Ballona Ecosystem Education Project. This is an example of the over 3,500 animals killed every year at the Ballona Ecological Preserve by Playa Vista. And the roadkill is terrible out there. And this project, if you approve it, is 24,000 additional car trips daily in the area. It's time we stop killing the wildlife out there. And we, the taxpayers, paid about $140 million to set up this Ballona Ecological Preserve. It's the last 5% of our wetlands left in LA County. So I'm urging you not to approve it today and to please make Playa Vista comply with the wildlife crossing under Lincoln Boulevard. They're not complying with previous requirements for wildlife to get across Lincoln Boulevard. Also, I would like you to ask Morgan Stanley and Goldman Sachs, who as far as we know are still Playa Capital. It's hard to find out who they are. But ask them to please donate a little bit more of the land to reduce the car trips. We've given them a lot of help in the past from taxpayers. Ask them to please donate a little bit, even a few more acres of land to protect the wildlife. We're also asking that they comply with the following agreements, that there would be a gas mitigation monitor as promised. We haven't been able to find one. To stop depleting the potential drinking water aquifer under the site for the gas mitigation system. We are running out of water in this area, and have them comply with other gas mitigation measures that have been requested in the past. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Ms. Purcell, followed by John Walsh. Sergeant, she has a document.
Good morning. My name is Leslie Purcell. I'd like to ask that this be continued so a few of the considerations that I'm bringing up could be addressed. Under item condition 11, it says prior to issuance of grading permits, a pest control firm shall be retained. They're supposed to do a rodent control program. We have seen repeatedly when these kinds of things are done, there is secondary kill to wildlife. Great blue herons, nesting hawks. There's a lot of wildlife out there, foxes, coyotes, even people's dogs and cats in the neighborhood are at risk of secondary poisoning. And I don't see from this language that anything has been done about that to address that concern. I'm turning in a statement referencing the California Coastal Commission, which is now required conditions in permits for developers so that wildlife will not be harmed in this way. Item 17, how much dewatering will there be? How much has there been done in the past? There's a concern the aquifer is being depleted. It's supposed to be drinking water. Let's see. This is a designated sacred site per items 24 and 25. Preservation in place in situ is supposed to be the preferred alternative, and consultation with tribal members. I don't see this reflected at all, and it has not been done properly in the past. Under item 32, the haul route, is there a plan to protect wildlife and animals with all this increased traffic? 3,500 animals are killed every year, according to Dr. Sean Anderson of Cal State Channel Islands. This is only going to increase exponentially with 24,000 new car trips if Playa Vista Phase 2 goes forward. Finally, is there an adequate water supply? The City of LA is now suing Mammoth Lakes to get their water, and I don't see that an almost 10-year-old water assessment is...
Thank you. Thank you very much. Mr. Walsh, HollywoodHighland.org.
Thank you. Come and find out the truth about Zev. What we have here, this is going to pass, I'm afraid. This is America. 3,500 animals. This is what we call the politically correct wildlife holocaust. All you're interested in, they get money from the developers. They don't get any money from the coyotes. That's why they're not voting on the coyote side. We are destroying and befouling our own nests because we're wildlife too. And I want to say I'm so tired of labor, and I am been a member of a union since I was 23 or 24. The union says it creates jobs. You know what? I had distant Hungarian cousins who died in the Holocaust. And you know, when the Americans came and liberated us, that was a job killer for the Germans who worked in the barbed wire factories, for the Germans who worked to make the Nazi uniforms. When we liberated the Holocaust,
Mr. President, he is not talking about this final track map.
Okay, John, follow. John, follow your rule and get back on subject. No, John, get back on the subject. John, get back on the subject. Follow. John, you're not speaking. You're not speaking to the item. John, just reconnect to the item.
Despicable. Dion Connell.
No, come on, John. All right, Mr. Walsh. Thank you. All right. Okay, come on.
If I could just
Mr. City Attorney. No, come on. Now you're disrupting, John. Yes, Mr. Dean.
The approval of a final track map is a ministerial action, has nothing to do with viewpoints or racism. It's a ministerial action.
I understand that. I thought he was going to follow his rule and reconnect, but he got carried away on that one. Okay, let us open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Okay, let's recess the regular scheduled meeting and go into the special meeting so we can take up item 33. So would you call the roll?
Alarcon, Buscaino, Cardenas, Englander, Garcetti, Weezer, Carrasco, Corona, Labange, Parks, Perry, Reyes, Rosendahl, Zion, Wesley, 11 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
Okay, on this item I have a few cards. I have Michael Robertson and Donald Taylor. I've got John Walsh. I've got Victor Gordo and Arnold Sachs. So if you please come forward. In fact, Victor, you're right there. You can just pop up and be first.
Thank you, Mr. President. Victor Gordo with LiUNA Local 777, and I'm joined, at least I thought I was going to be joined by Sergeant Larry Guillen. We represent the sergeants and lieutenants. Here's the sergeant. Sergeants and lieutenants in OPS. We're here to urge you to encourage your staff to continue the negotiations with us. There's significant issues that remain. One of them is the pension issue. The pension issue is important because even if a police officer transfers to LAPD, the survivor benefits for their families should something tragic occur are not the same. And so you would have officers essentially working shoulder to shoulder with LAPD officers, risking their lives, and should something happen, their families would not be treated the same. That's a small issue. The background issue is also an important issue that we need to clarify. We're making headway. Your staff is working with us, but it's premature to hand out packets and to deal directly with our staff, with our members prior to finishing those negotiations. Let me say that the proof is in the pudding. We now have a process and a program that focuses LAPD away from the streets. You didn't get the transfer that you were promised. Officers aren't coming over from OPS to LAPD because these are important issues to these officers and to their families. So you have the worst of all possible worlds. You didn't get the transfers. You don't have the LAPD class. And now you've got significant LAPD resources focused on work that was already being done and done well. And so we would encourage you to take a close look at what's transpired over the last few months and give serious consideration to what has happened and how we can do to either expedite in a way that's responsible to all, including your constituents and these officers. Thank you.
Thank you, Victor. Okay, John Walsh. Arnold, you're good? Okay, Mr. Walsh, and then Michael Robertson and Donald Taylor.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org. This is a very important issue here because the LAPD swallowed the Department of General Services Office of Public Safety. Therefore, these excellent officers, and I'm not being sarcastic, I think you do an excellent job. You should, when you retire, become line tamers because you've got a lot of experience in that area with us. They do an excellent job, and because of some technicalities, they could have their pensions seriously harmed. And we don't have, they've done an excellent job policing this building. I'm glad they're here and not the LAPD. And in fact, some of the of our police officers here, the city general services, have had to go back and be retrained, which we don't think they should have had to go to the academy, to the police academy again, some of them in their 30s and 40s. The whole transfer was unnecessary. It worked. But the mayor wants one big police force, and it's very important that you make sure that these people, these officers, men and women, who do an excellent job in the future, when they retire, get exactly as much as they were promised, or even more if what a LAPD officer gets. As I said, treat me like a human being and a good Jew, and I will be calm. But treat me like a piece of Jewish swine, and I will be nasty. This is for Mr. O'Connell.
Okay, Arnold, you want to speak?
Yeah, very quickly.
Go right ahead.
Very quickly. Arnold Sachs. Very quickly. I appreciate the fact that you're looking into this pension situation. You looked into the pension situation in other areas. When are you going to step up and look into the pension situation at DWP? A bellwether, a ton of weight around the city's neck. Step up. DWP should be on the agenda and be taken care of.
Thank you, Mr. Sachs. You guys going to... Because I called you guys first. You were outside. But anyway, go right ahead. Good to see you both.
Good to see you, sir. Don Taylor, Vice President, General Services Police Officers Association. We'd like to say that we are making progress. We have made a lot of progress, but we don't want to put a pretty bow on this yet. We still have progress yet to be made. We still are not getting the understanding on why we are new hires after 24 years of good city service. So we are willing to negotiate every day if we have to come to a good conclusion of this, but we don't want to put a pretty bow on it yet. There's still some negotiating to do, but we are going on the right path.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Mr. Robertson, speaking to the mic, though.
Yes, we just ask that you guys continue to monitor this process. I mean, LAX4 alone, I don't think is going to be effective in truly getting the best deal for the members of General Service Police. And I just ask that you guys be open to truly monitoring and hearing us when we come to an impasse about some of the issues that's been eloquently spoken to today. I want to thank you.
No, thank you. Mr. Englander?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that this item is really cleaning up some of the issues on the retirement side. But if we could, Victor and all the folks who spoke on this item, in fact, if you want to meet offline on this, I'd be happy to meet anytime to hear about any concerns. And as the chair of the committee, bring this to my attention. I'd love to bring this into committee if need be. Let's get a status update. Let's do it transparently. Let's make sure you guys are getting answers from the department as well. Because when I'm not hearing things, you know, I got to think that they're moving smoothly. But if there are some issues, let's deal with it. So come on in anytime. Let's sit down and talk. And then if we have to bring some other folks in, we can do that. And if we have to bring it to committee, we can do that as well. Be happy to. All right. You got it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Englander. Madam Clerk, it's my understanding this is supposed to be held over for 30 days.
Yes, pursuant to Charter Section 1618B, the ordinance will be held over for 30 days to September 25th.
Okay, so let's adjourn the special meeting and return to our regular meeting. Item 10, Mr. Huizar.
Thank you, Mr. President, and colleagues and public. I'm really excited about today's item. Yes, Mr. LaBonge.
Procedure. Mr. LaBonge, I can't hear you.
He's got a point of order.
LaBonge, get to your mic, son.
Thank you. A point of order. It was expressed by our city attorneys that we have to vote on this issue to approve it. The city attorneys are talking right now. I just overheard this and I was trying to help the chair. So this is what they instructed right now.
Thank you, Mr. LaBonge.
Colleagues,
can I go, Mr. President? Colleagues, I'm really excited about today's item. We could have the city staff come up, please, and we have a short presentation to you about what we are adopting. What we are adopting is to do a pilot project for 4 parklets in Council District 14 that will take street space and make it into a public plaza for people to enjoy, whether it's for benches and more plants and trees or exercise equipment. And this is a way for us to support our local neighborhoods and communities in ensuring that we go back to those old days when people wanted to stroll down, shop, or take a walk and have a meeting place. It is something that is new to the city. In the past, our regulations have been concerned about safety, haven't been supportive of these types of efforts. But we have today, department staff have been very creative in making this possible, and some community members who are here with us today who have been advocating for this. A few years ago, I started 2 initiatives, one in Huntington Drive in El Sereno and one in York Boulevard in Highland Park, where we asked the public, community members, what they would like to see to improve those 2 corridors. In York Boulevard, this was one request, to do a parklet. They also wanted more bike lanes. We got the bike lanes. They wanted to convert a old gas station into a public park. We're doing that. And on Huntington Drive in El Sereno, the community wanted to see a parklet, and that's what we're doing. But interestingly enough, some community members in downtown Los Angeles, by people from the neighborhood council, were advocating for this on Spring Street, and it all came together to get this pilot project today. After 6 months, we will come back, see how this is working, and then hopefully expand into other areas. I know Mr. Alarcon and the committee has put in some funding to do this in his district. Mr. Buscaino today will make an amendment to look at some efforts in Council District 14. But this is really a new way of thinking about what is possible for gathering spaces in our communities. And I just want to thank all the community members who've been supportive of this. You guys have really made a difference. I want to give some acknowledgments after our presentation, but I don't want to take any more time from our presentation, and I'd want to turn it over now to Simon from the Planning Department, who's been very supportive.
Councilor Huizar, if I may, I'd like to, you have about 15 cards on public comment. Did you want to hear them first or after the presentation?
After the presentation, please.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Good morning, council members. I'm Simon Pastuchin. I head the Urban Design Studio with the City Planning Department. And today with me, I would like to introduce our city attorney representative.
Yes, I'm Mike Nagel. I'm General Counsel for the Department of Transportation.
And Steve Rasmussen-Kansian with Living Streets.
And I'm Jay Kim from DOT.
I'm Shoyan Bedin with Bureau of Engineering Public Works.
Yes, the council member gave a great summary of what's before you, but we want to present to you just sort of what is a parklet and what's the describing it so you can understand visually what they are. And these have been in place in other parts of the country and in other parts of the world. New York, San Francisco, Long Beach, Oakland have all permitted these, and they are in place at this point. And other cities around are doing this also. So with that, we'll just go through a quick presentation and show you what these actually look like in the real world.
So parklets are an answer to a problem that Los Angelinos have faced for so long, which is how do you create pedestrian space, a place for a community to gather in such a car-dominated landscape? And we have this opportunity, I want to say, before showing you images, because I think of the vision of Councilman Huizar, to not propose something to the community or even suggest the community create a plan, but rather to entrust the community with resources to make immediate improvements. And what that did was the community came back and said, let's see if our PowerPoint will work. Next slide, please. One moment. There we go, an AV moment. It's thoughtful. So imagine if you're a resident of Highland Park and you live on off of York Boulevard, you'd really like a vibrant place to meet your neighbors, to shop, but right now you have this. What we are proposing to do, maybe, how about, can you next slide it for me? Pardon me, we have technical difficulties. There. All right, shoot it. So what we're proposing to do, can you go back to the previous slide? No, you can't. Okay. Yeah. So we're proposing to change this environment to, next slide, to this. And you can see you can take a average, relatively unwalkable sidewalk and dramatically change it by extending the sidewalk just 6 feet into the parking lane and creating a pedestrian plaza. Downtown, similarly, where there's a new, vibrant communities, we have sidewalks full of people. Next slide. If you just create a small deck off the sidewalk, suddenly you don't just have a shopping district, you have a community center. Next slide. And really, a small group of businesses can really become a plaza for the entire community. So to look at it, just to be exactly clear what we're proposing to do, next slide. First, we want to create decks that are flush with a sidewalk that extend out 6 feet. Next slide. And you can see they're very carefully constructed to make sure they're universally accessible and allow stormwater to go beneath them. Next slide. And then surrounded by both a railing and planters to assure pedestrian safety. Next slide. And then furnished in every imaginable way, from tables and planters to bike racks to sculpture, and you'll see later to a foosball table. Now, across the world, next slide, as Simon mentioned, from Oakland to Long Beach to Chicago, people have found this parklet zone, the green area on the map, which is really the space we normally put a car, and they've realized that it really could become the center of community. Next slide. So in Oakland, parklets are popping up throughout downtown. Next slide. In Chicago, their vibrant neighborhoods are being made even more vibrant with new parklet spaces. Next slide. In San Francisco, they have become so popular that they have an annual RFP to compete for the ability to create them. And here, the Audi Corporation actually donated the funds to create a 4-block park on Powell Street. Next slide. And then our neighbors, Long Beach, have started the Southern California effort. And what we're hoping today is that Los Angeles can take the leadership to spread it across the region. So very briefly, the benefits. Next slide. First and foremost, these will create vibrant neighborhoods. It's an opportunity block by block to go from car-dominated streets to people-dominated streets. Next slide. It's also importantly an opportunity to do community economic development. In Long Beach, the restaurants that have created parklets have seen a 20% increase in their business. So it's a very direct, cost-efficient way to support an economic development. Next slide. Importantly, we're not proposing something without great and careful thought. So the team here and many other members of staff have gone through all the key challenges. First, maintenance. Happily, here in the city, we have an established process where community groups can sign maintenance agreements, which will be the case here, to make sure that the burden of maintaining these doesn't fall on the city. Next slide. We've also done extensive technical work to make sure the design fits with all the specifications for safety and full functioning of the street, including many of the city officials here at the table traveling to view parklets elsewhere. Next slide. And most importantly, we've looked carefully at safety. So really, parklets will be the safest place to stand on a sidewalk because you'll have a planter, a railing, and as you'll notice on the left of this drawing, Caltrans spec planters to protect you from passing cars. Next slide. So what we hope is that these first 4 pilot parklets are an opportunity to start a transformation of LA streets. And it's an opportunity made possible by Councilmember Huizar's leadership and really by the creativity of the 14 districts community. So we hope that everyone can come together and support this really grand opening of pedestrian streets for LA.
Yes, I think quickly in conclusion, I think that gives you the idea of what we're looking at. We have these 4 pilot parklet sites. We will have also 2 more and another one probably by amending motion today. This is quite an exciting time period. This is a pilot test period. We want to see how these things work in the built environment, see what issues are raised, because as we've talked with other cities that are doing this, there is an evolution of the process, but we've been using their most current knowledge and working knowledge on these projects. And thank you.
Okay, so we do have a few cards on this. Kathy Milligan, Councilmember LaBonge.
Can I just speak?
Yes, please.
Yeah, just a couple things. I support Mr. Huizar, especially support, I think, in your district as well, Mr. Reyes, on York Boulevard. Safety's number 1. I mentioned the tragedy in Santa Monica committee at the farmers market, which changed things. I want to make sure the engineering bureau is very keen on this. Also, storm drains are key, clean streets are key, all those aspects of it. I saw what Mr. Garcetti's done at Griffith Park Boulevard and Sunset Boulevard and the transformation of the Triangle Park. So it's positive. I'm just asking our city attorneys, both the gentlemen in council and the council for committee, to make sure we're crossing our T's and dotting our I's for the safety factor of anything, because a vehicle with speed leaves the street, goes through to the curb, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So you all have that, you've all looked at it, so and you all assure me that in all reasonable steps we've done that. And no one said yes.
Oh, yes, certainly, but
okay, thank you.
we have our
Yes,
engineers here to speak
Thank
to
you.
that.
I just wanted to hear it.
Okay.
Good. Thank you.
The quickest answer today. Fantastic. So we have Kathy Milligan, Valerie Watson, and Madeline Brosen. Please come on up to the microphone. Good afternoon.
Hi, thank you very much for hearing me. My name is Kathy Milligan. I am a business owner on York Boulevard and have participated in this project since the beginning. I'm very much looking forward to having this here to help our community, and it is a community-based project. I'm also executive director of Northeast Los Angeles Arts Organization, which is known as NELA Art, and we have Second Saturday, among other things, in our community. NELA Art has signed the maintenance agreement and adopted the street porch, so we will be taking care of it and looking after it. I also like to say that there is a bike lane that buffers the street porch, keeping a little bit of distance from the cars that pass by. We're really looking forward to this, and we hope that you all say yes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker, please. Give us your name.
Valerie Watson. I'm a board member with the Downtown Los Angeles Neighborhood Council. This has been a really fantastic collaboration between the Neighborhood Council that's brought together residents, business owners, property owners, basically our whole downtown community, to think about ways to make our streets better for people who walk, bike, shop, do business. And this is just one tool in our toolbox that we'll be able to do quickly, efficiently, cost-effectively to make our streets better. It's been a really great collaboration, not just with the folks downtown, but with several city departments and bureaus, with Councilmember Weezar's office, and also along with Jan Perry's office, who introduced the motion originally last year. And then along with some strategic partners who have joined our initiative, seeing the momentum that it had, the Historic Downtown Bid, the UCLA Complete Streets Initiative, and they brought in the Gilbert Foundation to provide funding for this innovative design that will promote healthy lifestyles and active transportation. It'll complement the burgeoning downtown bike network that's connecting downtown to the rest of the city. And we're very, very, very pleased to be bringing this to you today. Thank you so much for your consideration. The downtown community really thanks you.
Okay, our next speaker, as she comes up, please come on. Patty Bellman, Cynthia Sandoval, and Anthony Manzano.
Thank you, Council. My name is Madeline Brosen. I'm the Program Manager for the Complete Streets Initiative at the UCLA School of Public Affairs. We've been working together with the Downtown Neighborhood Council to bring the Spring Street projects to fruition, along with all the city staff you see in front of you. We were granted a $75,000 grant from the Rosalind and Arthur Gilbert Foundation, and you have letters of support from the foundation and UCLA in the council file. Through our research in the last 8 months, we've seen how other cities have done this and been able to provide this information to city staff to make sure that these are the very safe and according to safety guidelines proven in other cities. San Francisco now has 35 in operation, is on their 4th round of requests for proposals, and I really hope that over time we can get to that same level of knowledge and improvements in our street right-of-way. The 3rd phase of our project will be evaluation of the Spring Street projects, and we will gladly provide that information to city staff to supplement the report back to council. So I urge you to adopt this recommendation, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, ma'am. Next speaker. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. My name's Patty Berman. I'm president of the Downtown Los Angeles Neighborhood Council, and I'd like to start by thanking the 2 council members who have been so active in helping us to bring this forward. First of all, Councilmember Jan Perry, who represented us until just recently and has worked so hard with us to make this happen. And of course, Councilmember Weezar, who is still helping us push everything through and making this a reality for downtown. I would say that downtown, of all of the areas in Los Angeles, is the most starved for open space. There's very, very little space that can be converted. The idea of these parklets, which came up through one of our subcommittees called Complete Streets, has really been an innovation to what can happen downtown. We really thank all of you who are considering this. You've heard all the wonderful things that it's going to do. I can tell you right now that the residents of downtown and the property owners who will have these in front of their property are very, very anxious to see them built. So please, let's do something new in Los Angeles. Let's create parklets. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. If I call your name, please come on up. We have Anthony Manzano, then we have Dr. Tom Williams, and then Charles Fisher. Please come on up.
Good afternoon, Council President and Council members. My name is Cynthia Sandoval, and I'm here in support of the parklets or plazas that will be placed on Huntington Drive corridor from Eastern to Van Horn. I have been involved in this project since the beginning stages all the way through to the design stage. I am very happy to support this project that is being headed by our very own councilman, Mr. Jose Weezar, Steve Cancian, which is our landscape design architect project manager, and also with the help of Ryan Lemon, which is our consultant and our planner for El Sereno. I feel that these parklets will benefit neighbors and visitors in that there will be a new visual aspect and a design change to our Huntington Drive corridor. Places to rest, stop, and shop will be available to all available young and old that come to visit and all of our neighbors. On March 13th, we took a walk through the Huntington Drive street, and a committee consisting of community residents and stakeholders were there present. The walk was very successful, and we chose possible locations that day. Keeping in mind that the space that would be used would not interfere with parking or public walking traffic. Our safety was a big concern, and I feel that we have addressed all of these issues successfully. And from that experience, our dream was now in full swing. Thank you again to everyone that was in support of this Parklet program. Again, Mr. Huizar, I am in support of all that you do for our community of 90032 and the District 14. Thank you and have a good afternoon.
Good day, Council President and esteemed council members. My name is Anthony Manzano, LA 32 Neighborhood Council President, of which I am not representing this afternoon. I'm here as a stakeholder and resident in Council District 14, and I also was there from the very beginning with the initiation of the council member inviting the community out in front of his office on Huntington Drive, where he spoke and brought this vision to the community. It was new, and we supported it. I believe about the fourth meeting that we had, one of the greatest collaborations and benefits to the city as a whole was when Steve brought these drafting papers. They were quite large, and I'm not an architect or a designer myself, but what it did is it gave the community residents, and we broke up into groups, about 7 groups of about 5 neighbors each, and we sat there and drew what we wanted. We indicated what our pleasures and services would be back to the community. And there was different type of designs, trees, implementations, games, stage areas where you could put your bikes and park them. And basically what it did is it united the community and the residents as a whole to say, we are taking a part of this. This is part of our community, and that we are providing the input and encouraging the city to hear our position. And after several months, it's flourished into this great project by the leadership of our councilman. It is a great service, not just to the El Sereno community, but you heard it throughout other communities as well, in Eagle Rock, Highland Park, and here in downtown. So it is an established benefit here for CD14. It is a benefit for our community, but more importantly, it is a benefit to the city as a whole, with the leadership of our council member to establish this, and hopefully it is a vision that the city will adopt this and promote it throughout the city, and we would encourage you guys to vote in positive or in favor of this. I support it, the community supports it, our council member supports it, and you as the city of Los Angeles should support something like this as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Our next speakers are Dr. Tom Williams, Charles Fisher, Janet Dodson, Margaret Arnold, if you're still here, Tricia Garrett, please come up to the microphone. Kevin Osibio, please.
Janet Dodson, I'm a resident of Highland Park, and I spend a lot of time on York Boulevard. I watched Steve Cancion run this project through the community. We also had the large butcher paper that the guy was talking about just now. There's no question in my mind that this was a community-supported project. The design emerged out of a lot of contention, a lot of complaining, a lot of fussing, and Steve held the process, moved the process forward. 2.5 years ago, one of the pioneers of the renaissance that's happening at York Boulevard today, Matt Schodorf, came to the Neighborhood Council. I'm on the board of the Neighborhood Council. He came to us and said he would like to have a bike corral outside his business on York Boulevard. We didn't even know what this was, but we worked with the councilman who worked with Department of Transportation, and we now have the first, and I think as yet only, bike corral in Los Angeles City. This is filled with bicycles. It was that corral which then I think also helped precipitate the pressure to put the bike lanes through York Boulevard, which are now beginning to develop a circle across other streets in Highland Park and Eagle Rock, promoting more bicycle use, which is something I know the city is very committed to. These, in turn, have helped flower the businesses on York Boulevard, which are developing and growing, and will continue to. Having this parklet is part of that entire process. It supports the businesses. It allows for more pedestrian traffic as we move past the days of the freeway towards a more pedestrian-centered city. These kinds of parklets are going to be an integral part of what we're able to do. So we appreciate Councilman Huizar helping us with this. I work with Neela Art, and we are committed to supporting this bench. We certainly hope you will support it and help us grow it throughout the city.
Next speaker, please.
Margaret Arnold. I live and work right around the corner from the proposed York Boulevard parklet. A huge thank you to Mr. Huizar, who believes in innovation. It's often very hard to do something creative in this city. You have to have every nut and bolt on a pre-approved list. We're doing something very creative and new here, and a huge thank you to the council member, to the co-sponsors of this motion, to Mr. Weezar's staff, both his field office and planning staff, who have made this happen, and the consultants that he's had the wisdom to bring in on this. The important thing about this project is that we in the community voted for it in very well-attended community meetings. We feel a sense of ownership over it. We're going to decorate it with tile. It's going to be beautiful. We're going to label it as a representative of the arts-rich community that we are. And for a relatively small amount of money, we're going to get a lot. We're going to get someplace where people can sit outside and have coffee. We just had a new ice cream venue open on our boulevard. We're going to sit outside, get to know our neighbors, support our community businesses. We're going a long way for a little bit of money, and thank you for that.
Thank you. Tricia Gossett, Kevin Osibio, Tina Gillette Miller, and Will Wright. Please come on up.
Good afternoon, members of the council. My name is Kevin Acabio, and I am one of the principal researchers at Parklet Studies, an independent research team evaluating both the pilot parklets on Spring Street and the Sunset Triangle Demonstration Plaza. Since October of last year, we've been working with DLANC to create a detailed picture of public life on Spring Street with the intention of evaluating how the parklets positively contribute to that neighborhood. Parklets are an important tool that can help correct the uneven distribution of publicly accessible open space in Los Angeles, a condition documented by Walsh, Wilson, and Fehrenbach in their 2005 equity mapping analysis. Furthermore, parklet and plaza programs are a natural complement to bicycle infrastructure programs, which dramatically increase safety and democratic access to public space. In our own surveys of 268 residents and pedestrians on Spring Street, an overwhelmingly majority expressed the need for more public neighborhood gathering places. Studies done by the New York Department of Transportation and the San Francisco Great Streets Project confirmed that parklets direct and positive short-term economic impacts on their neighborhood. My own team's research on sites in Los Angeles will expand that body to examine the long-term impacts of temporary installations on small businesses. Recently published literature by my colleague Robin Abad documented how parklet initiatives in New York, San Francisco, Long Beach, Oakland, and Los Angeles become invaluable tools for galvanizing citizenship, engaging local stewardship, and catalyzing increased community cohesion and pride. We strongly urge the City Council to pass a motion to implement the demonstration parklet projects in downtown Los Angeles, El Sereno, and Highland Park. Our team also advocates for Council to consider the creation of a permanent program bringing together parklets, plazas, and other living streets interventions under a single streamlined review process. We are at the disposal of the Council and staff regarding any of our research. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. We have Tricia Gossett, Tina Miller, and Will Wright.
Hi, Trish Gossett, Highland Park. I'm on the Neighborhood Council. What a heck of a day this has been in the council chambers. We've had pig heads and clowns and a mariachi band and, you know, the agony of the tunnel. And now I'm here because I'm with the ecstasy of the park and the parklet item. I totally support this motion with great joy. I am looking forward to a street porch on York Boulevard, as well as the future of Veterans Memorial on York and Fig. Thank you, Mr. Reyes and Mr. Weezar, for working together. You're going to you are creating such a happier, healthier little sector, our little Neela Highland Park, and we love it so much. And thank you very, very much for supporting this.
Thank you. Our next speakers, please. Tina Miller and Will Wright.
Good afternoon. My name is Will Wright. I work for the American Institute of Architects. I'm here also as a resident of downtown Los Angeles, a car-free resident. This is a wonderful time. I think everyone here, especially the city leadership, Simon, Jay Kim, Jose Weezar, Councilmember Perry, should be extremely proud of what this means for the city. This is a pilot program. It can go viral. Every council could have dozens of parklets. It's also a great example of how we as a city are moving forward, working together, privately and publicly together. I think this is a model program, and I'm really hoping it makes the front page of the LA Times. I really do. I think this is a chance for us to transform our public realm back into a world where us as people can spend more time together. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. That concludes public comment. We have two speakers on the queue, Councilmember Perry, then Councilmember Buscaino.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and to the staff. I appreciate very much, and the community. It's been a dynamic and engaging process to be able to transform the inner core of the city, and it's something that we've talked about for years, but to see it, the fruits of our labor finally take shape and break ground, it's very encouraging, especially now that we have people living everywhere in places that we hadn't anticipated 10 years ago. Now I'm looking forward to the UCLA evaluation of this pilot project because it'll give us concrete evidence that we can measure that gives us a factual basis upon which to build, and that's a good thing. So what I do want to focus on, though, is a streamlined process for developing these parklets and getting them up and running, getting them built within a specific time frame, and a process that's very linear and without a lot of, how do I say this, side trips, because these are good things. These are open spaces. The more activity we bring into these open spaces, the better it is for a community with respect to criminal activity, and people on the street, eyes on the street, do tend to discourage negative activity. Now, what I do want to know in terms of the analysis as we move forward, how long is this going to take to spread out beyond this target area? Because as yesterday I was with the mayor at 49th and McKinley in that area for two small parks as part of his 50 Parks initiative. They're similar to parklets with exercise equipment and things like that. But how long will it take to be able to spread this concept to other parts of the city?
I think Simon Pastucci with the Planning Department. We are planning on 6 months at the maximum to get back to you with a report and figure out how to spread this out citywide, and hopefully we come back to you with a robust package of information plus answers and actually a launch date. And we're hoping to do something like San Francisco's, which does a request for proposals where community groups get together, get their package together. We open a window, then we close it, and then we evaluate. That's how San Francisco does theirs, and they're still able to figure out how to process them. So I'm hoping within 6 months.
Okay. So that'll put us at, let's see, this is August.
Yeah, so it's going to put us at about February.
Okay.
If not earlier.
Yeah, it's a long time.
It seems like a long time,
yeah,
I know.
It does seem like a long time.
I know the demand will be high.
Let's see if we can't do a little sooner than that.
I will work on it.
Okay.
Councilor Buscaino.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to thank Mr. Huizar and his leadership on this, on moving forward with these parklets. You know, Jose, you're really literally changing the landscape in our neighborhoods and our business districts. This is really exciting to move forward. And I got my planning deputy, Allison Becker, approached me a couple weeks ago, and she showed me pictures of these parklets. And she got the idea in working with the Central Neighborhood Council, San Pedro Central Neighborhood Council member Sue Castillo. We'd love to see one of these in the downtown San Pedro Business District. And I want to, if I may, add an amendment to item number 10 and a technical correction to the Arts, Parks, Health, and Aging and Transportation Committee report to include the identification and creation of a parklet site in CD15. Specifically, we're looking along Center Street between 6th and 7th Street, and direct and instruct the Department of Public Works to issue the permits for the 4 demonstration projects in CD14 in time to allow for their completion, review, and evaluation by December 31st, 2012 in order to effectively implement a citywide program. Thank you, Tom. And with that, I look forward to seeing a parklet in my district and eventually, ultimately, citywide. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Buscaino. Just for a pause for a second, I see a Mike Fong sighting here in the council chamber. Hey, Mike. Next speaker, Councilman Huizar.
Thank you. And again, I just want to thank everyone who made this possible. You know, in some of these corridors like Huntington Drive and York, we asked the community what they wanted to see, and they came back with these ideas. And so much is happening in the community that we would hope to start changing other regulations to make more pedestrian-friendly sidewalks and streets and living streets for all of us, and this is something that's great. The bike corral, somebody thought that would never happen. Our regulations didn't permit for that. We were like, well, how do you make this happen? Now we have the first ever bike corral on York Boulevard that's been a huge success. And that has added other things. As was mentioned, we have a pocket park going up across the street that we are able to get some Proposition 84 dollars to add to the continuous pedestrian-friendly sidewalks that we are looking for. But I want to take this time, Mr. President, to thank everyone who made this possible, from Simon, from the Planning Department. I love that name. It's my son's name as well. He goes by Simon, by the way. Lem Bakwa from the Bureau of Engineering, Thomas Carranza and Jay Kim from the Department of Transportation, and Geraldine Lopez from the Public Works Commission who helped us. And certainly from our community, there's been a lot of folks. Steve Karsian. We have also had Ryan Lehman, who's been very helpful, and all the people at Living Streets LA and the Green LA Coalition have been very, very helpful. And certainly downtown LA, Valerie Watson, who has been worked so hard with the Neighborhood Council to make this possible, and the Neighborhood Council has been very attentive, and the Madeline Brozin from UCLA, and everyone else in downtown, Patty, and everyone who supported this and moved this forward. We look forward to having 4 of these. One in CD7, or a few in CD7, a few in CD15, and then throughout the city. It's a great thing to do for the city. We are, to be honest, a bit behind the ball when you go to San Francisco and New York, whoever thought that, in Manhattan. A lot of their public spaces now are taken up by these types of projects. And hopefully this is the first of many. We'll get that feedback in 6 months. So thank you, everyone. It's a great day for the city of LA.
Well, congratulations, Councilman
And our
Huizar.
Transportation City Attorney Committee. Thank you so much.
Congratulations, Councilman Huizar. I know this takes a lot of work, but if we take a bird's eye view of the city, now we have an evolving light rail system emerging. We have transit-oriented districts that are beginning to evolve. We have many tools in our toolbox with the parking district, should it be stimulated, to complement these types of sites. So we are creating an alternative to how we get from point A to point B in the city. And I want to thank all of you and the communities, and especially my colleagues, the leaders that are making this happen. So with that, seeing no other person on the queue, let's open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
10 ayes. That's adopted as amended.
As amended. Forthwith, congratulations. Congratulations. All right. So, Madam Clerk, what's in front of us?
Council has motions for posted and referral.
Posted and referred.
That clears the desk.
Members, any announcements? Members, any announcements, please? Councilor Buscaino.
Thank you, sir. Tomorrow, Harbor Gateway is hosting a health and resource community fair and potluck, 9 to 5. Join me from 9 to 5. I'll be there about 9:30, not the whole day. However, on 208 between Denker and Harvard, a number of community-based organizations will be converging in Harbor Gateway. So looking forward to seeing my constituents come out and joining a great day in Harbor Gateway.
Thank you. Councilman Huizar.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have an announcement. Earlier we had our motion on the 710 extension. We will have a special meeting with Mr. Koretz chairs on Monday, this coming Monday at what time? 9 a.m. here in the council chambers.
9 a.m. Monday, special meeting on the 710 Transportation Committee. Okay. Councilor, announcements? Councilor? Councilmember Krikorian?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Just wanted to let everyone know that City News Service reporter Richie Duchan, who's always in here with us, is going to be leaving us for a short time. He's taking a month off to care for his 4-month-old baby daughter, Twyla. So I just want to join with all of you in wishing Richie all the best. And he hasn't taken any time off to be with his daughter yet. This is the first time that he's actually broken from his duties in reporting for City News Service to be able to take some time off with his daughter. And so we wish Richie and his whole family well.
So he will either catch up on his sleep or lose some more. Congratulations, Richie. Congratulations. Anyone else for public comment? Councilor Koretz.
Yes, I just want to announce that at the West Side Pavilion tomorrow between 2:30 and 4 are going to be Take Me Home days, where there are animal adoptions of cats and dogs at the West Side Pavilion. So everyone wants that opportunity, stop by and see a bunch of very adoptable animals.
Thank you, Councilor Koretz. Anyone else for public announcements? Seeing none, please everybody rise on your feet so we can address our adjourning motions. Anyone on this side with adjourning motions? Seeing none. Adjourning motions on this side? Seeing none. This meeting is adjourned. Have a great weekend. I'm sorry.